When people think strong, they imagine lifting heavy weights in the gym. But in the NFL, strength looks a little different. It's stiff arming a grown man into meme history, pancaking two defenders in one snap, or turning the line of scrimmage into your personal highlight reel. Today, we're counting down the top 10 strongest players in the NFL. And trust me, these guys don't just move weights, they move human beings. Derrick Henry is a running back who looks like he was built in a defensive end factory. At 6 feet 3 inches, 247 pounds, he's bigger than most linebackers, but faster than them too. And his signature weapon? That stiff arm. In 2020, Josh Norman found out the hard way when Henry launched him into orbit like a sack of laundry, one of the most viral NFL plays of the decade. But it's not just highlight reels. Henry trains like a gladiator. We've seen him doing band-resisted deadlifts with chains, balancing on stability balls while pressing weight most guys can't lift flat-footed, and repping 405-pound squats like warm-ups. That's why when he hits full stride, defenders are basically trying to stop a moving train with pool noodles. But if Henry is the train, our next guy is the wall that the train crashes into. And trust me, it's not moving. Offensive linemen don't usually get the spotlight, but Zion Johnson is too powerful to ignore. He can bench 450 pounds and squat over 600, numbers that put him at the top of the NFL strength charts. On film, his power jumps off the screen. He doesn't just hold defenders in place, he shoves them backwards like he's rewinding tape. Back at Boston College, Johnson was so dominant he earned first-round pick status in 2022. Since joining the Chargers, his raw strength has been key in both pass protection and run blocking. You'll see him stonewall defensive tackles and then pancake linebackers who dare to shoot the gap. Zion doesn't just block lanes, he builds highways for running backs. But while Zion is a wall, this next guy is something the NFL rarely sees. A quarterback who squats more than your team's entire O-line. Quarterbacks are supposed to be the cerebral guys, quick decision makers with just enough mobility to escape pressure. Jalen Hurts never got that memo. This man squats over 600 pounds. 600. For perspective, that's nearly 3 times his playing weight. That lower body power is the secret behind the Eagles' unstoppable tush push. While other teams try and fail to copy it, Hurts makes it look easy. It's not magic, it's physics. When you've got tree trunks for legs and a powerlifter's mindset, 3rd and 1 becomes automatic. Defenses know it's coming, and they still can't stop it. Even back at Oklahoma, Hurts was legendary in the weight room, earning respect from teammates who couldn't believe their quarterback was outlifting linebackers. Hurts is redefining what quarterback toughness looks like. And speaking of redefining, our next guy is so strong, the weight room itself struggles to contain him. Maisie Smith was literally ranked #1 on Bruce Feldman's annual Freaks list, which profiles the most insane athletic specimens in college football. At 6 feet 3 inches, 337 pounds, Smith moves like a man 100 pounds lighter. His measurables: bench press, 225 for 34 reps. Squat, nearly 700 pounds. 40-yard dash, 4.85 seconds. Do you understand how absurd that is? That's a man the size of a fridge, running a 40 faster than most tight ends. On the field, he plugs gaps, eats double teams, and collapses pockets before the quarterback can blink. NFL scouts called him a rare blend of size, speed, and raw power, and they weren't exaggerating. But if Smith is a freak, this next guy is a full-blown gym legend, the type of player who makes lifting records look like warm-ups. Bo Limmer isn't just strong, he's historically strong. We're talking about a 705-pound squat, a 500-pound bench, and grip strength that makes opponents feel like they're caught in a bear trap. When he latches onto defenders, It's game over. He ragdolls them like they're props in a wrestling ring. During his time at Arkansas, Limmer set weight room records that had strength coaches shaking their heads. His power translates directly to the field, dominating nose tackles, bulldozing linebackers, and clearing space so wide you could drive a semi-truck through it. But while Limmer is pure weight room domination, our next guy mixes brute force with freakish athleticism, like a superhero playing defensive end. Myles Garrett looks like he was built in a lab. At 6 feet 4 inches, 272 pounds, he benches 470, squats over 650, and once performed a 64-inch box jump while holding a barbell. That's not human. That's comic book level. On the field, he's just as terrifying. Offensive tackles get bullied, quarterbacks get hunted, and entire offensive schemes have to adjust just to account for him. Garrett's blend of power and speed makes him a nightmare off the edge. He doesn't just sack QBs, he detonates the pocket. And don't forget, Garrett also moonlights as a basketball highlight machine, casually windmilling dunks in his free time. If strongest also meant most athletic, he might be number one on this list. But raw strength isn't just about sacks and pass rushes. Sometimes it's about combining brute force with Olympic-level speed, which brings us to DK Metcalf is the closest thing the NFL has to an action figure come to life. At 6 feet 4 inches, 235 pounds, he benches over 350 pounds and runs a 4.33 40. Oh, and he once competed in the 100-meter dash at the U.S. Olympic trials. Because why not? Metcalf's highlight reel is filled with defenders being tossed aside like paperweights. His stiff arms aren't just moves, they're statements. And his blocks, they look like car crashes. DK has the physique of a linebacker and the wheels of a sprinter, making him a mismatch no matter where he lines up. But when it comes to pure leg power, one guy stands above the rest, literally squatting his way into NFL folklore. Saquon Barkley's legs are so famous they could probably get their own endorsement deal. He squats 650 pounds, nearly triple his body weight, and it shows every time he breaks through the line. In 2018, against the Texans, Barkley turned a routine play into a physics lesson, stiff-arming one defender, plowing through another, and somehow staying upright for a 39-yard touchdown. That run was all quads and glutes. His explosive lower body strength gives him the acceleration to hit holes instantly and the balance to break tackles like he's in a video game. But while Barkley explodes past defenders, our next guy doesn't move at all, ever. Blocking Vita Vea is like trying to move a refrigerator, except this one hits back. At 6 feet 4 inches, 347 pounds, Vea squats over 700 pounds and benches nearly 500, making him one of the strongest humans in football. Double teams, he eats them. Triple teams, they just slow him down. Running backs see him clogging the middle and immediately bounce outside because the lane doesn't exist anymore. His most iconic moment came in the 2021 NFC Championship against the Packers. On 3rd and 1, Vea powered through a double team and stuffed the run cold, swinging momentum to Tampa Bay on their way to a Super Bowl. And don't forget, he's quick too. At the Combine, he ran a 5.140 at nearly 350 pounds. That's a freight truck moving at highway speed. Vita Vea isn't just strong, he's unmovable. But here's the thing, mountains don't punch back. Our number one guy, his punch feels like getting hit by a truck at full speed. When you talk about strength in the NFL, there's one name that keeps coming up, Trent Williams. At 6 feet 5 inches and 320 pounds, Williams is the definition of dominance in the trenches. He doesn't just block defenders, he erases them from existence. Ask any pass rusher who's faced him, and they'll tell you his punch feels like being blindsided by a moving truck. It's violent, sudden, and over before you even know what hit you. That raw upper body power comes from years of weight room punishment. Williams squats over 600 pounds, benches massive numbers, and has a training regimen so intense that strength coaches have called him a once-in-a-generation athlete. But strength isn't just about lifting numbers, it's how you use it on the field. Williams has been voted to 11 Pro Bowls and was a first-team All-Pro multiple times because he combines brute force with impeccable footwork and technique. He doesn't just pancake defenders, he flattens two at a time. One clip against the Cardinals shows him plowing through a defensive tackle, spinning off, and then shoving a linebacker 5 yards downfield on the same play. That's not blocking, that's demolition. And then there's his agility. Despite his size, Williams moves like a man 50 pounds lighter. Watch him pull on outside runs, and you'll see him sprinting into open space before tossing a defensive back into the sideline. It's unfair when the biggest guy on the field is also one of the quickest. Even after more than a decade in the league, Williams hasn't slowed down. In fact, he's still considered by many analysts to be the best offensive lineman in football, period. Teammates describe him as a cheat code, and opponents, well, most just call him unstoppable. If Derrick Henry is a freight train and Vita Vea is a mountain, Trent Williams is the wrecking crew that tears both down. He's the ultimate combination of size, power, technique, and nastiness, and that's why he's earned the title, the strongest man in football. So there you have it, the 10 strongest players in the NFL. From freight trains to brick walls, from squat kings to unmovable forces, these guys prove strength isn't just about the weight room. It's about turning raw power into game day dominance. But now it's your turn. Who do you think is the strongest player in the league right now? Did I miss your pick? Drop it in the comments. And if you love NFL deep dives like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next list might just surprise you even more.